Okay, I'm going to answer somebody's question, somebody calling themselves John Doe. It says, with such a light grip, loose limbs, and a body-focused swing, how are you able to get pure contact all the time? Loose feels not always the most controlled. Where's the precision coming from? So, first of all, light grip. No, I don't have a super light grip. I don't have a super strong grip. I mean, physically strong, but I think you can. But you need a fairly firm grip, and it needs to be, if you start your grip, it needs to be in the fingers and held that way. So it's not loose, especially in the left hand for me. Now the right hand can be relatively passive because it's just, it's for me, for my swing, I'm not doing a lot of gripping in the right hand. It's more a bit of a push through the ball maybe, and a little bit of a, say, pulling and pushing motion that way. So it's more like Ben Hogan describes. If you think of the force as just being these two fingers, that's the feeling you want between the two hands. So I think that is good instruction, and you can do just what he says. Just hold the club with these two fingers and feel how the hands work together. So you can lever, you can push, you can pull, but you're not, using these fingers. So that's the first one, loose grip. Loose limbs, no, not entirely that either. So I don't use my arms against my body, if that makes sense. But that doesn't mean I don't have any tension in my arms. So I'm holding tension, really holding the arms in here and here. So that's how I'm using my arms, or that's where the structure is coming from. Holding my arms sort of on top of my chest and then somewhat together, so you're feeling that you're pulling your two arms together. But then after that, they become relatively soft, and even though if you grip your club far enough in your fingers, it makes your wrist more mobile. So your wrist can be mobile without you having necessarily a sloppy grip or a loose grip. So those are those two answers. But then let me see what the other part of this was. How am I able to get pure contact all the time? Yes, I always get pure contact. I don't get pure contact all the time, so that's part of it. But then, so in the final question is, where does the precision come from in terms of ball contact? So let's say I create some structure. So for me, I would think the way I'm training myself, I would start with my trainer. So first of all, this is your first move. So arms are sort of on top of your chest. Rotate this up. Take your grip. Hold a little bit of structure here. Then the arms they're not loose, but they're passive, if that makes sense. So you're holding structure, but not using the arms. So then the motion is driven by your body. And you're holding a little tension also on the inside of your legs for structure. So get your sense of a motion driven by your body, and this is, you're creating a structure here. So it's not loose and sloppy, it's a structure. And then that whole arm and trainer now is sort of like, think of that as a unit that you're swinging. You're not swinging the trainer, you're swinging all of this. That's the feeling you want. So feel how you're driving that with a little sort of stepping motion. And now you've got the feeling for your swing. So I think the first thing you want is to get a proper motion. It's a sequence of events, right? So I'm suggesting the sequence of events is different from how golf has usually been taught, which is to start with grip and stance and posture, and then try to fit motion to that. And now I'm going to explain why I believe that, and how I think, how do you get more accurate and consistent ball striking. So this is what I think. So now you've got your structure, you've got your movement, you're still sort of visualizing your trainer, if that helps to translate that same kind of movement. And now what you want to do is just gently start brushing the grass, or the simulated grass in this case. So make sure my grip is good. I can get pretty sloppy there, so don't do that. Get a nice firm grip in that left hand. Just brush the grass, and now think about my weight as being, so not toward the balls of the feet, not totally toward the heels, sort of straight over the ankles, so middle of the feet, because the force is this way. I don't want to be forward too much. Better too far back than forward. And now make a motion where I can feel that I stay balanced through that whole motion. And now I'm going to stop. I'm going to look down and see where my hand is in relationship for me to my feet. I tend to point this way, but you can also be here. I think actually this is probably mechanically better because it starts you better. You can do this when you're too far forward. So I'm trying to move that a little bit so I'm more here so that I start back without losing this. Makes the club go in a better place. But anyway, so doing that. So I'll look down now and I'll say, okay, now I see for me, my hand is just about, I can see a little bit of my toe past my hand. So that, given that position and being balanced and relaxed, my hand is there, and that's where my swing lands if I'm going to stay balanced. Look at that. And now, try an experiment first. Now step up to the ball like you normally do, and now look down and see where your hand is. So my habit is, when I get to the ball, I'm actually stretching out farther than where my club wants to naturally land. So I have a habit of setting up basically a little too far away from the ball, which then is going to throw my weight. When I go to swing, I'm going to be having to reach a little bit. I'm going to be too far forward. So this is what I'm going to do. So I'll find that spot again. And I'll say, okay, there it is. I see where I need to stand now. Now you can either just take that right to the ball, or when you go to set up to the ball, look down at that foot and say, okay, I know that's right where I need to be. Now I've got a alignment. So this is why I think golf is taught backwards. Because people say, set up this way, put the ball this way, do all these things, and then try to fit your motion to that. But the problem is, 99% of the time, there's going to be something wrong with that in terms of how your body works. You'll probably be too close, too far forward, too far back, and then you're trying to constantly make your motion fit static elements, right? That doesn't make any sense. What makes sense is to find your motion. So see where your path is going. See where your path squares. I know, see it's coming right through there. I look down, I see where I'm standing. I just move my motion now to the ball, and then also find my shoulder plane that makes this, everything square without manipulation, right? So good grip. There I'm a little closed. There my club face is a little open. That feels square to me. I'm balanced on my feet. And now I'm just going to move that motion through the ball. And so that was fine. Nice solid hit. A little to the right. Not bad. So, a little to the right, but I don't know if there was any shape to that shot. A little bit of a fade. So, that would say to me, my path was probably pretty good and my club face was a teeny bit open to where I would want it to be, but I'll set up again. And also, you know, I'm having to try to figure out an imaginary target in a way. So I'm indoors. Unfortunately, you end up squaring to something that disappears, but that's another issue. So now, do all that setup again. Look, do a check. Okay, I'm in about the place I need to be. And now stay balanced and just move that through the ball. That one seemed a little better. So pretty good. Decent contact. Pretty good line. I'm not really trying to go for a particular distance so much as just being consistent. So again, find your motion. See where your motion lands when you feel through the whole swing like you're balanced. You're always balanced against the club through the whole swing. So give yourself a feeling for that. So to be balanced is not necessarily to be always in one place. It's just that your weight is always balancing against the movement of the club. So feel balanced against it. So you should feel like you're holding against it both ways. Find where that lands for you. Check it. Move that into the space. And now stay in that balanced position and move through. And there I moved in too close, so I hit a little fat. So, or I didn't stay balanced, or I didn't keep moving sometimes too, right? So, my practice swing, if I keep moving all the way through it, then if I stop, I'm going to throw the club and hit it a little fat. So, keep moving all the way through it. Check that. Check that. Much better, much better. Moved all the way through it that time. So those are all the elements of how do you hit it solid. So it's very individual to each person, I think, exactly where they stand, how their mass is distributed in their body. Are they better off a little open or closed? All those things are variables you can work with yourself and figure out for yourself, but figure it out sequentially. A swing that feels balanced, unencumbered, no extra movements, and then find exactly where that swing has to be and exactly where that club has to be to make that produce the shot you want. And that's how you're going to do it.